Ya maho uda uma. What's goody to the beautiful kings and queens, and what's popping to my people? Well, like we do always about this time. I could be biased, but I think this is my favorite show. I got the right to like my show. The hell wrong with y'all? Brother J, what you say? Brother J, how you feeling, black man? At least you come right on in and handle business, man. I don't know what's wrong with the rest of my brethren. I don't know what's wrong with black folk. You gonna wait till the white folks do something to me and then say, y'all niggas don't never do nothing. I've been waiting for a movement. You Negroes sure do get in front of the camera and get the line after the show done went down. After the jump off then jumped off. Everybody get revolutionary. Woo, sunshine. Hey, you know what? Twice in a row, this could be a historical moment I'm having. This could be history. Hey, y'all see, these white folks done got the Peace Queen. These white folks done jump right on in. Boo! First chance they get. Immigrants. They don't give a shit about your black ass. Now, I dropped this last week to give y'all a heads up so y'all wouldn't fall for the flim-flam. And I see already y'all starting to get reeled in to this concocted ass black people and Asian beef. Stay away from that shit. Let that go. That is a medio loop-de-loo. Let that shit go. Listen, I'm trying to tell y'all right now. These people is working a number on us. You got to think about it like this right here. When it's all said and done, our governments got us however we are. Everybody. It's the government that really runs shit. And all of them taking advantage of all the people. So when you get to really realize what be happening in other countries, see, I had the privilege I travel a lot and I be meeting other races a lot. And when you realize that most people is really, especially when you're talking about, like, you got a lot of different Asians. Which one y'all mad at? And tonight we're going to kind of deal with what an Asian really is in the first place. That's another thing y'all need to understand. You mad at your little cousin. But at the end of the day, all of this shit is media trickery. And most people are racist. Don't matter which race you is. We are racist because we was raised to be. Our people raised us to be racist. We don't like nobody else and we think ain't nobody cool but black folk. But what I do know is the only reason why they want you mad at each other because they finna pull a move. And if you feed into it, you're going to assist the move. I told you, they whole plan. Well, you got to be mad at the governments, though. The people is a product of governments. But their whole plan is to now See, you done moved from second class to third class citizens, and you about to move to fourth and fifth. Before they get ready to try to exterminate your ass, they got to put you at the bottom of the barrel. So they going to keep concocting beefs between you and other races so that those other races can now create a real hate for you. Because the media perpetuate the hate. A lot of these people ain't never even met you. If you get around like real Asian people, they don't even understand what the fuck you saying. They don't like or dislike you. They don't give a shit. Until we start affecting each other's world. And so the media has to create something to get us to affect each other's world. Because we don't do it off top. We don't have a beef amongst each other. So they have to create one. And I'm not even finna deal with that tonight. But I seen that shit a lot this week. And it's like, that's why I tell y'all, bring y'all ass in here and share the video. If we get more people watching, if we just dropped this information a week ago telling people don't fall for it, and then Yahuwah, and then a week later you see people falling for it, that means we ain't do our job. We gotta get the information out, I'm telling y'all, because this is more concocted bullshit. Anything you see on the news is a fucking lie. How many times we gotta deal with that? But when that's why I be like, they never tell the truth. When you see, as you start to peel this thing back and look at the depth of the lies that they tell, like this lie tonight, oh Lord, white Jesus. When I say this to people, people think I'm exaggerating. When I say everything you ever been taught damn near prior to this show is a fucking lie. Unless some conscious people taught it to you. I ain't saying I'm the only person that's smart. But what I'm saying is all the shit that we grew up to normally believe about this world, from our parents, from just everything, from school, from all that shit is a lie. School is a lie. Everything is a fucking lie. And the only way you can maintain control is if you build, it's just like y'all say in a relationship. If somebody lied to you one time, they lie to you again. Okay, well, these people got a history of repeatedly lying. Why do we repeatedly think at some point they tell the truth? Nothing. All of it is bullshit. Even when they, like this immigration shit. So on one end, they telling you they passing all of these different immigration laws to let different races into the country. On the other end, they telling you that the Asians who are newly coming into the country are being attacked by black people. So if you're having racial indifference and diversity and strife already in your country, why are you high strung on bringing in other races when you haven't created harmony amongst the races here already? Now y'all say a bunch of stupid shit like it's free world and no. Everybody know common sense is take care of your fucking home first. How am I gonna become a house cleaner? My job is to be a professional maid to clean houses and my house filthy. This is a fucking oxymoron. You probably don't trust that. Clean up your own house. So you having a problem. Black folks and white folks still never figured it out. Now you got a new dynamic. All of a sudden, black people don't like Asians. We didn't have no build up to this. There was no precursor, no nothing. Just woke up and we mad at Asians. Why? What the fuck is we upset at Asians for? This is bullshit. Whatever they don't like about us is something from the news in their country because they don't know us. So I don't take that personal that somebody who never met me don't like me. They've been trained to do that. Y'all hang with Christians. They believe a white guy gonna float from out the sky and come save y'all one day. Y'all don't disown them. Tomato, tomato. And by the way, not for nothing, but just so y'all know, there is no white guy gonna come out the sky, out the clouds that ever come save y'all. Just putting that out there for the people who still got sky daddies and shit. So, either way it go. Now this is what I was finna do. I was doing the thing about the men and women. The lecture I did last time about the king and the queen and the strife between the battle of the sexes and all that. And what I was about to do was, I was about to use as a point of reference the fact that these people are so crazy that they hate women so much that they started the witch trials and started hanging women. So I was going to put that into the presentation last time. So in order to do that, I had to study the witch trials a little bit because I know pretty much what anybody else know. White men got mad and started hanging white women. Which I always thought was funny as shit. And don't ask me why. I don't know why that's funny because it's not. It's fucking disgusting if it ever happened. But I just think it's funny that white men have such a low tolerance for anything feminine. Like last time they got tired of the women, they ran y'all completely out of y'all country and y'all became lesbians. So after that shit wore off, they decided we're going to start hanging y'all and burning you. So I just tickled at the psyche of the white man. I thought it was funny. Nothing about burning white women tickles me, just so y'all know. I'm not, well, whatever. So now, anyway, in my discoveries, here's what I found out. They never tell the truth. So, as I'm digging into the Salem witch trials, I had a weird thought. Soon as I seen the date, my mind went to a different space. They said two things that caught my attention. So now the first thing is they said that this happened after it was directly affected by the Indian Wars. And I said, okay, the Indian Wars. Then they said that a slave named Titibu was one of the very first people that got accused of witchcraft. I was going to say witches, but was one of the very first women that got accused of witchcraft. Was now they play with this depending on where you read and where you watch. They say that Titiba was, they try to throw you off with Native American. And then they say Native South American. So, those are dog whistle titles to throw y'all off. Let me tell you what that really means. Nigga. Okay. Now that we passed that part, and for those that's going to watch this and be like, I can't believe he uses the N-word. I kind of do and I kind of don't care. So, either way it goes. I'm very educational, though, past that. If you can get past that, you'll be okay. Now, here's the problem. Since I know they never tell the truth, and since the very first person was a black slave, but they keep trying to put her off as a Native American and a descendant of the Indian Wars. Now, here's where shit gets interesting. Because what you got to understand is this right here. Now, y'all see me repping Africa a lot, and you see me having love for Egypt and Kemet. And here's what some of these internet scholars don't understand, and why I say I'm one of the one of the really, really good scholars out here, because I think deeper than what y'all understand. I speak of oral tradition ideology. Oral traditions and ideologies was what a lot of y'all go off of when y'all try to justify y'all bullshit ass belief in religious systems. So I'm going to go off the same thing. Now, oral tradition, you have to understand the spiritual systems of the Nile Valley culture, of the African cultures that y'all so ashamed of. There's no such thing as a fucking Native American if he doesn't look like me. Now, you gotta pay attention. Look at the Native American culture. The culture that y'all know of. The feathers, the eagle. Isn't the eagle very important to the Native American culture? Okay, well, what's the first culture on the planet you see embracing the eagle? Ancient Egypt, maybe? African cultures, Nile Valley cultures, maybe? And when I say ancient Egypt and Kemet, once again, I'm talking about the systems that went through there. The people change names. The systems get revamped. But you could look at the core of a thing and tell its origins. So when you look at what they want you to believe is the American Indian, the Native American, he is almost the same complexion of a white man. He has the same color as the white man. Now, look at his belief system. It's all about nature, where they always try to put the witch doctor and correlate that with the Native American culture and the beating of the drums and the spells and nature and having ancient wisdom, being in tune with the animals and the earth. Isn't that the Native American culture? Okay, well, explain something to me. How do white guys get a culture that old? As old as they want you to think those people are. How do white guys get a culture that old? The people y'all call Native American, they are the same complexion as white guys. How did those people get around for thousands and thousands of years? When their predecessor, the actual white guy, hasn't been around very long. So it's common sense. The Native Americans, the Native any fucking thing, is you. This is where they slip the bullshit in at. Because if the first slave being accused of witchcraft is a descendant of Native Americans, and they got her as a dark complexion African slave, then they show you what they're telling you. The Native Americans that was in these Indian wars, which was wars against other tribes and the government. The Indian wars was 100-year-long war with other Indian tribes and the government. Now let's say what was the end result of this? What's the end result of these wars? The people that y'all know as Native Americans, they get treaties and land. They get tax exemption and money for life. You get enslaved and you get nothing. And you get taught that you only came from Africa. This is why they created the term African American. So that you don't understand your connection to America. You don't identify with being American, so you don't understand what that means. You must understand the most important part of slavery was land and resources. Currency is created. The money that y'all spend right now, they created that once they started the country. Before that, they didn't have paper money. They created it when they created this country. So the money that y'all so crazy about did not get created until they created this country with your ass in servitude. But now, we got to talk about the servitude. They running a huge fucking scam. If you're not the Native Americans and you only came from Africa, but you got no connection to Africa, you here in America. So it's safe to say you are a lost tribe because you have no land. This is why you're poor. Not because of anything else. It's because they have the land. The land is the wealth. They got you thinking dollars is fucking money, is wealth. The land is the wealth. What they stole from you was your land and your resources on both continents. If you look at the original Native Americans, how come all black folks think they got Indian in their family? Your mama and them, ask your grandma and them. I guarantee you, anybody who grandmama's still alive or they mama a little bit older, ask them, do y'all got Indian in y'all family? And watch she go get the photo album. We all got Indian in our family, and you been heard that, and you didn't pay no attention. It's a common joke on black folks. The queen it's a common joke on black folks. Black people always talk about they got Indian in their family. Why? Why? Because you are the Indians. And this is the part they don't want you to know. So peep the plot. This is what they did. They signed a treaty with the people that y'all think is Native Americans. They signed treaties with them to go to war with you. They armed them with horses and pistols to track you down and hunt you down. Now, hold that thought. Now let's deal with the witch trials. Now you gotta understand, before the Salem witch trials, Europe had been witch hunting for about 100 years. All through France, Germany, Rome, Europe, all through there, they had been having witch hunts for the last 100 years. Now, what is a witch? See, this is the thing. They play so many fucking games with you, and TV is the #1 catalyst to rope-a-dope your ass. When you think about a witch, you think about an old white lady with a bent nose on a broom or casting spells in a cauldron and something like that there. But you don't know history. What do they call a witch? Fuck what you think it is on TV. What is the origin of witches in this country? What is the birth of the witch on this planet? See, you got to understand that. Now, on TV, in every movie, they demonize voodoo. Show you how horrible and evil and how it's connected to the devil. This is intentional. Voodoo is the first religion on the planet, and it's your shit. This is why they make it look bad in movies. There's no such thing as good or bad. Everything is causality and intentions. That's why they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's all about what you're gonna do with what you know. So what really is voodoo? Voodoo is understanding nature and the elements and how to manipulate and make nature and the elements work in your favor. This is something that when you are in Africa and you're surrounded by all of these plants, different plants and trees and wildlife, You're learning what herbs do what over the course of 1,000,000 years. So this information gets passed down generationally. You the one come from nature, not the fucking European. Where the fuck are, it's there in the mountains. How you getting close to nature in the mountains? How you learning about spells and working the elements and you're in the mountains? So obviously, who knew how to work with nature and the elements before anybody on the planet? You did, because that's where you come from. So your initial religion was voodoo or voodoo. That's what you brought to the Americas. Now, they demonized it. Because before they steal something, they have to, it make you look left and go right. So if they demonize your religion and teach you that it's something else, you won't understand when it's being used on you. So all you got to do is look it up and you will find out that the early slaves frequently got accused of witchcraft. And it was outlawed all through Europe and France, Germany, all over there. They was outlawing witchcraft. Now, there's another aspect to witchcraft. Seduction. Now, when you watch the Salem witch trials, they telling you that these witches were being, one of the ways that Satan was seducing them was through sexual acts. So what they used to do is, if a white man or if a white woman get caught with a slave, y'all know how the trick go. They used to scream rape and hang the slave. Okay. If a white man get caught with a black woman, they can't holler rape now, can they? They call her a sorcerer. This is why the sorcery is synonymous with sexuality. So they call her a sorcerer and say the way that she was getting the man was she was using her evil seductress powers. She was a witch. So he couldn't have been desiring her. Obviously, she was a witch and she bewitched him. That's where the term bewitching come from. So she bewitched him. So now, this is what your witch trials was. They were hanging black women. They had outlawed the practice of voodoo. So therefore, if you get caught practicing it, they was hanging you. And when they started going to round up, when the shit kicked off and they started going to round up all the Indian chiefs and conquering, this is what they used to hunt down the queens. So they called it the witch hunts. And because you got to think about it like this right here. And we really finna crack this egg open. Watch this. You got to think about how racism works, allegedly. If you're a slave master and you bringing slaves from another country, and now you just got slaves in your country. If you teaching white dominance, how you gonna be hunting down white women and hanging them at the same time as you trying to maintain slave camps? So you got slaves coming. Now you gotta. They telling you. Okay. According to their numbers, they say 1492 is when this Christopher Columbus bullshit happened. Oh, yeah. It's going to make you angry, Queen. Watch this. So 1492 is when they say this Christopher Columbus bullshit happened. So now this is when he supposedly double-crossed the Indians and all of that type of shit and made his land in America. Okay, so now in 1692 is when allegedly the Salem witch trials start 200 years after this double-cross of Native Americans. 200 years. So you got to think about how long the process would take, because they did not come through and take over like they want you to think. You got to think about it. Now let's think about it this way. So if you already got, y'all not understanding what I'm saying when we say that black Native Americans was here already, we talking about tribes. We not talking about no small amount of people that you could have just overtook. Rifles or no rifles, that was not gonna work, bro. We had so much land. We was in America. We ain't talking about just balled up in that little area where Plymouth Rock is at. No, bro. We talking about colonies, tribes stretched out, civilized tribes, nations stretched out all over. You had chiefs with land stretched out all over the place, bro. It was a lot of us. And that's just the black ones. Now you got the other ones that we was doing business with. Those ones that y'all think the lighter complexion. Those are now what you're dealing with is you're dealing with the precursor to the Asian Americans that you see now. Everything is evolution. All of it come from you. All you got to do is go back to the African tribe with the slanting eyes, and they look just like Chinese, Japanese people. Go and look at it. That's an ancient tribe. Okay, there was no white people on the planet when this tribe was around. So if you look at a slanted-eyed white man, and there was no white man on the planet, where the fuck did he come from? You have to understand this is war everywhere. This planet is a war planet. It's what they've been doing since the day one. So people see what you got and want to take it as war. War. That's what this planet is about. This is a fucking war planet. So that's what's been going on. Now, once a person overtake you, they're gonna have sex. Consensual or non-consensual. Your people have been overtaken by a darker skinned people. Or a lighter skinned people have taken over a darker skinned people. And now now this kingdom is merged with this kingdom. You had 5 kingdoms, now you got 6. This is now your kingdom. Okay, if nothing else, y'all seen how King Queen movies go. The king walked through, all of the brutes walk through, grab women and take them to the back. These are soldiers. They respected men. These are peasantry women. They taking what the fuck they want, or you consenting. One way or another, it's going to be some sex. Okay. So now they didn't look at it like we do it now. Nobody was looking at biracial. Nobody's finna be a dad anyway. It's rape. He finna stick it in her, and then he going to conquer the next territory. He don't give a fuck what happened after that. So lots of biracial children get made during war. People go to war for 500 years, 50 years, 60 years. People go to war. And don't get me wrong, all of the sex is not non-consensual. Because a lot of times, regimes that's getting taken over is horrible. Somebody leader is horrible. And somebody who take it over maybe ain't so bad. So now you got women who maybe was oppressed. Now these new guys come in. Hey, they dark skinned, but they was kicking ass. Nobody cares. Because most of these places, which I don't understand, was already mixed. There was no all white this and all black that really in too many places. Europe was mixed. Rome was mixed. Greece was mixed. Africa became mixed. The world been mixed for a long ass time. They started this black and white shit that did not used to exist. That's what you got to get out of your head. So if there used to be no such thing as a race barrier, how? Black people was everywhere first. White people migrated. Why would you stop them from coming in? Yo, you trying to work a city. The more people come in, they come in looking for work. You got a city that's booming. As long as you finna come and work and spend some money, the city open to you. You traveling. You post up here. You like it. You get a job. You fornicate and start a family. Nobody's looking at, there's only black people here. There ain't another city within probably 7 days of walking. You're going to stop here. And if the only women in town is black women, kudos to you. You a white boy stuck in an all black place. Or nobody cared. It wasn't a thing back then, is what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. So all of these races are just a hodgepodge of different fucking conquests. Now, they colonized the concept of color in America. America started the black and white thing. That was not a thing before. Now, slavery initially was not about fucking cause you was black, so to speak. It was about what you had, the land and the resources. So now, when you understand that already we had established tribes all over America. You taking what happened in Africa, in Egypt. You taking those customs, it might not even be for a bad reason. You might just decide, me and my family want to go somewhere else and see what else is happening. You end up in fucking America. You starting over there. They got everything you need. Y'all set up shop. People see your ass didn't come back. Shit, we going where they went. This is how people did. They moved around. Nobody had no buildings. There was no home. Home is wherever you set up, where the land was good at. The area you in, it might be a season where everything fucked up. Okay, we got to get up out of there. Whatever the case may be. This is what you dealing with in America. So they want you to think nobody was here but the Indians, the Native Americans. They double-crossed them and stole their land, and now they're making it right by giving their land back, giving them casinos and shit like that. And y'all feel all teary-eyed and feel sad for them. Them the ones help these people catch your ass. The Salem witch trials was just another witch hunt, and witch means black woman, a.k.a. witch is a black woman or a medicine doctor. They predominantly was looking for black women, but anybody that knew medicine and knew how to cast spells and what they're calling casting a spell is really all we learn how to do is mix herbs and spices and heal. Magic was a healer. A healer was considered like the witch doctor. That was just they used to call him the medicine man. That's just your healer, the person who understands how to work with the elements. Now, you can use that for something nefarious, but they turned it in just because you know it. You got to go. And they hunted your queens down. They hunted these Indian chieftains, hunted them down, and killed our women once again. And when you see Native American, you don't identify with it, so you don't understand. You're the Native American. They hunted our black women down and hung them. And they did it for 100 years. And they admit they killed over 50,000 people during this time period. And if they say 50, then it probably was 150 because they never tell the truth. So we know they killed at least 100,000 women over this time period. And they said it was 100,000 people. 70%, 90% of them was women, is what they said. They said 50,000 and 90% of them was women. So here's the real what they're doing. See, like I said, this is about displacement of land and wealth. What you're locked out of is wealth. And even though, like, the big thing now is real estate and land ownership, but they can take that. They confiscate people's land and property all the time. So what you're doing is you're renting space on their land. They still the governing body on the land. You can't do shit with that land that they don't want you to do. If you build something on your land that they disagree with, they can come and tell you to stop. If they see you building a training facility for your own boot camp, they can come stop it and say, no, you can't do this here. So then you can't really buy land. Just food for thought. Now, another thing is this right here. Okay, so if they still in the land, okay, now understand that. If they still in the land, then you need to understand that they never did what they told you. They never ran up in Africa with pistols. It ain't enough white boys to just run up in Africa with pistols. You know how many people in Africa? So that wouldn't have been no good plan. It didn't happen like that. They lock you in with paperwork. The number one catalyst for the poison of this white dude is the language. See, this is why English is the number one language globally. And it's the worst language. And everyone knows this. It's the worst language because it's the only language that does not speak in tones. It speaks in syllables. And that's why when you put the letters in this language together, it's called spelling. Remember, back to the witchcraft. Spelling. When you have a spelling test, you're casting spells is what you're doing every time you're using spelling in this language. That's not a play on words where the same word to put your letters together is the same word to make a potion. You think they accidentally made them the same two words? No. This language is the catalyst for a lot of shit because the treaties that y'all signed, that we signed. See, they say, we are such and such. And they come in. Now, if somebody, check it out, it go like this. If somebody come on your land, or they come to your country, any country, and they say, okay, well, we are so-and-so. We want to do business with y'all. And they say, okay, well, we speak a different language. And as y'all doing business, they got good money, so they teaching you their language. We do this all the time. We get around Hispanic people, and we hanging with them. We ask them to teach us Spanish. And they say, teach us English. You ever go anywhere around black folks, white folks, any other race, they want you to teach them slang. It's the same thing. And when you mix cultures like that, teach us how you do. So now, when they doing business and teaching you the language, you got a barrier because it's not your language. Now, the paperwork and the treaties you sign, now these are Native Americans. They don't work with paper. So now these treaties and shit that they got in paper and writing, They teaching you the language and telling you what's on this treaty. And saying, we're going to give you this, 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 and this, as long as you help us do this. So now, you sign these treaties, and they appear to be giving you what they ask. They give you your own space. They giving you weapons, food, artillery, horses, helping you get out during these wars. Then when the wars is over with, and they get a stronghold on the country and start establishing democracy, then somebody like Thomas Jefferson calls you for a meeting and signs the Indian treaties, which basically turns y'all into fucking outlaws, public enemy number one. This is the catalyst for the cowboy movies y'all see, and why you always see the white boy at war with these Indians, because those Indians he went to war with after they helped him catch y'all ass. Then he double-crossed them and got busy on their ass too. All of these treaties is what they use to get you out of your land. The fucking paperwork is what it boils down to. It will keep tricking you. Every time this white boy write down something, you read it and believe it. Trail of Tears, what you mean, Queen? Every time they every time they put something on paper and give you a good story to go with it, you rock with it. And this is how you keep getting caught. So when you look at this, now look how his mind works. See, they put everything in writing. They gotta explain why certain things happen. See, they taught you that you got bum rushed, snatched up, and brought here on slave ships. Why did they give you that story? To scare the shit out you and to make you think that the white boy was so tough, he came on your turf, kicked your ass, overpowered you, and walked off your country with you. That's what they want you to think he was bad enough to do. So they show you them stories of you on the boat, stinking, and they just terrorizing you and all this type of shit. Like that punk was tough enough to run up in Africa and do any such a thing without treachery first. Fuck out of here. So, peep the play. He doing business with African countries because they the whitewashed generation of the first slave masters. And plus, you got a lot of Arabic nations that Arabic people that run African nations now. So they was able to get their ass back in Africa because they control the Arabic nations in the first place. So they're doing business on both continents. And the ultimate goal is get you out your land. So what turned into business deals always ended in trickery with them. So you ultimately ended up as a slave through a lot of treaties and trickery. It was no one-stop overpowering nothing. This was over hundreds of years of doing business with this fucker, him getting the inside, milking, greasing the wheel, until he stabbed you in the back every fucking time. And then people would say, well, how you keep falling for that? It ain't like that. It's generational. They'll wait 5-10 generations down until they get a general brave enough to pull it, and they look across and see y'all been comfortable long enough. Okay, let's run up on them. That's how they do it. So it be constant war. See, you whoop somebody ass, and after you whoop his ass, you done with him. He don't work like that. He told you in the 48 hour laws of power, in war, crush your enemy completely. So if he ever went to war with you, it was never over unless it ended with him supreme. If he ever went to war with you and lost, he never went to his respective corner like, well, we just lost. He never did that. He never did that. So any war he ever lost, The only thing he ever did was sat back and bided his time to do it again. That's what he does. That's his purpose. That is his entire reason for existence. He is the definition of war. That's what he's in this existence for. He's not going to stop, because if not him, then who? So you need to understand that's what you're dealing with. War. And so they have to keep shifting history and stay a step ahead of you and keep switching the playing field and lying. But what they really did, voodoo is what witchcraft is. When they say witchcraft, anytime you see witchcraft, spells and all of that type of shit, you have to ask yourself from a common sense perspective. They always show you some old white lady. The American Indian Removal Act. Oh yeah. And you're absolutely right. And this is the Indian treaties, the Indian slave treaties, the slave codes. All of these is different paperworks that they used to start stealing the land from the Native Americans. And then you was the first Native Americans. And after they helped, because you got to think about it. The Indians that y'all know of, they got pictures of them with slaves. You can Google Indians with slaves and you'll see Indian tribes with slaves. So if they were so against the white man, if they were so enemy of the white man, if the white man took their land, how did Indian tribes get rifles, slaves, and horses and firearms? How did Indian tribes? People, according to y'all, they from nature. They in the wild by themselves. How they get rifles? In the cowboy movies, you see Indians with rifles. Where they get rifles? Think about it. In the cowboy movies, the Indians be shooting back. Where the fuck they get rifles from? It's a farce. They went to war with this white boy after they got double crossed. But that's what the fuck they get, because they double crossed us in the first place. If somebody never been to the land before, how Europeans navigate through America and they never been there before? How they catch the Africans? How they catch the tribes? They tell you about all the Indians that got slaughtered by the white man. How? On their own soil, and he's a stranger. How was he able to get the jump on just because he had guns? So fucking what? These people, we know how to climb trees, use wildlife and the nature and the terrain. We know everything. He never been here before, but he was able to kill all the Native Americans and take over America. That shit don't make no fucking sense. No, they teamed up on each other and double-crossed you and did you in. And that's what the whole, that's what these witch trials is. Salem, you got to look at, where's Salem? Salem is in Massachusetts. Where they tell you they brought the first slaves in? Virginia. Ain't Virginia and Massachusetts next door neighbors? Now, the witch hunts, like we said, started in 1692. Massachusetts abolished slavery in the late 1700s. So that show you right there the whole time how you abolish slavery in the early 1900s in Massachusetts, but they tell you slavery didn't get abolished to 1865. They're lying about this slavery thing to an extent. Yes, slavery happened, and they did breed slaves from Africa, but that was after they took the land from the Africans that was here and turned them into slaves. Your first slaves, now, what they say, now, two things that tie this in. Who did they say when they give you the Thanksgiving story and they say the first people that settle here, what they give you the Pilgrims. They said it was the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims, and then you'll see, okay, the people who was responsible in Salem witch trials was the Puritans. Now, Puritans, is the same thing as pilgrims. Now, these are Protestants. Protestants, Puritans, that's all the same thing. Pilgrims, this is their religion. They're Protestant. Now, what are the Protestants doing in America? You have to understand, the biggest wars that ever took place are religious wars. The biggest fight for your existence has been Protestants versus Catholics. The Protestants run your world. They call them the Jesuits. The Protestants and the Catholics. Now, you have to look into that. That's a whole nother lecture. But when you hear pilgrim, that means Protestant. These are religious people. So now, when you understand how religion works, people don't move around for religious freedom. Religion is a war vehicle. They give you a image of these peaceful little people with the hat on. No, religion is a war vehicle. Anytime a religious sect moves somewhere, they're setting up for a takeover. Stop watching fucking Hollywood movies unless you're going to pick them apart. Religion is not about peace. If religion is about peace, how come every religion stay at war? If the real intention was for God, if God put religion here for peace among people, how come all religions stay at war and it ain't no peace? When's the last time you seen religious peace on this planet? So God either lacks vision or this ain't God. Hey, little boy, what are you doing? I think the prince is bringing me juice, y'all. But he's sneaking in here. You got to bring it to me, Papa. I can't get up.
But Mommy said quiet like a ninja.
Mommy said quiet like a ninja?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, baby. He was pretty quiet in his defense. Hey, so now, Puritan, like I said, is just another nickname. Now, when you look at it this way, and you look at religion being a vehicle in a different fashion, now the picture makes a lot more sense. Because who is Christopher Columbus? Now, Christopher Columbus, his dad was a slave trader. So ever since a child, peace, Queen, ever since a child, Christopher Columbus been part of the slave trade up and down the waters with his dad. So he already knew about the slave trade. So to let you know that they lied about the whole story of who he was. They said, we fell for that shit. Said he thought he was in India, so he named them Indians. Get the fuck out of here. No. He named them Indians because they was from India. He knew what the fuck he was doing, and they lying. Christopher Columbus, for one, he was a fucking liar. So a lot of times, what he got in trouble for was lying. He used to always report he was in one place or he couldn't make it to another place because he was on dirt. Christopher Columbus was a pirate, money-hungry pirate. So every place he went, he was robbing, raping, and striking deals. So he had struck so many different deals, and now he wasn't following his instructions no more. And he kept lying. And when they got back to the king and queen, them niggas snitched on him and told him this nigga been lying. They finna get in trouble. They snitched. Like, nigga, we ain't going down for you. Everybody on his crew, the main ship leader was a brother named Pedro Nino. His ship captain was Pedro Nino. Pedro Nino was a black dude that dressed like an aristocrat. Okay, if this was about slavery, how the fuck do you got a black, well-dressed captain? Think about it. So it couldn't have been no black-white hatred then. It couldn't have been no slaves about to come on those ships and you got a black dude driving you around and he's the boss. All kind of black power. Peace, King. So right then and there, you see it's a lie. Why? Because it wasn't no fucking slaves yet. They tricked you out the land before they pulled the tough guy shit. They had to trick you out the land first. Now, let's move back to the Salem witch trials. they told on themselves, because peep game, this is what they say. When you ask them what was the problem was Salem, Massachusetts was a Protestant town. What I just say, the Protestants, here we go again. Now, this was a Protestant town that was highly religious. Now, according to them, some little white kids started getting sick and was possessed. When they asked the little white kids who possessed them, they pointed at the black slave lady. Now, people want to tell you that this ain't about black people. Okay, the top 3 slaves that first went on trial, you had a slave woman named Candy. She was of African descent. You had the most famous one was Titi Ba. Titi Ba is the one who they be trying to, see this how they play. They try to say she was Native American or South American, but every depiction of her is a sketch where her skin is real dark. Okay, and then you got Mary Black. Now, a lot of times they gonna call her Elizabeth something else, Elizabeth Black. They try to change her name into a white woman name, but it was a slave, Mary Black, from the Patanus family or some shit, the Patna family or something, the Pitnam family. The Pitnam family was the masters of the last slave who I just said. So my point is, Massachusetts, what they really was doing was stealing the land. It wasn't no fucking slaves like that. You had black women taking jobs as helpers. When you see these mammy rolls in these slave movies, they tricking you. A lot of times, that's why you see a lot of times you see the black nanny breastfeeding the white child. Because it wasn't no fucking, they wasn't slaves. It wasn't no racism at that time. They just, the picture they showing you. What really was going on is that was the nanny. Part of her job description was fucking breastfeeding. In some cases. Now I'm giving you the beginning before they flip the script on us. Now, what you got is what they tell you in the Salem witch trials. They say, what was the real catalyst for the problem with the witch trials? Now, you had Salem was divided into 2 halves. Basically, I forget what they call it, but Salem was divided in 2 halves. Basically, the poor half and the well-off half. Now, keep in mind, the original landowners was black, and they way more sophisticated than they want you to think in them dumbass movies. These is people who had land and was established already. Now, when you look at like early Confederate flags, you will see Native American dudes, dark skinned like us, with the Confederate flag. That used to be our flag. We established the first Confederacy. See, it's a lot of shit they not telling you. So now, when they tell you the poor people was the biggest accusers in the Salem witch trials, the people who was mostly getting accused was the well-off people. They slipped up and said the poor people was the Puritans. So the motherfucking Puritans was mainly the poor people. And we already established that the top 3 people was 3 black women. They telling you slaves, they lying. But it was 3 black women. So the first 3 people that was tried at the Salem witch hunts, according to them, was 3 black women. They also said that it was the poor people. They said it was really a courtroom scam. Yahu Umar. They said really it was a courtroom sham because it was the impoverished people mad at the wealthy people who had the land. So they concocted the witch hunts to demonize the landowners. Then they came with the shammed ass trial and was hanging people and getting you off your property. This is what the fucking Salem witch hunts was. The poor Protestant people, the wealthy black landowners, they came in, they partnered up on this system they didn't completely understand. And once they got these people partnered up and got them to allow, okay, we about to build this town. Y'all gonna be this, and this. They even gave them positions, important positions. Because they slipped up and said one of the main people who ended up getting turned in was a highly established person of the town. He was like he's supposed to be like a reverend or something like that. But I'm just reading in between the lines. So somebody highly established in the town that was pretty well off ended up on trial and getting executed. So really what they telling you is the poor white people, first they came in with this bullshit ass government structure, got us to sign some of these treaties, and then the poor white people turned on the wealthy people and started this witch shit. And if you think I'm lying, I got two things that'll prove it. Look at all the old movies. When they doing this hunting down witches and dragons, what do? They get a bunch of mob of white men. They get sticks and fires and rifles, and they go and they hunt them down on their own. And that's exactly what the fuck they did. They started their own motherfucking mobs, took matters into their own hands, and these is well-to-do, well-off people that's established over here. They not even thinking along these lines. Now these people that come with the tough guy shit and muscle them up off their land, the same thing you see them do today to people. They use paperwork, get you to sign it, and then when you can't pay the way they want you to, they come repossess your shit. How many times we know people that signed contracts, didn't understand them, and got did out of everything? Okay, when did this start? Why is it well known in this country that's the land of the free, home of the brave, but you always have to pay attention to a contract before you sign it? And if you don't, somebody could trick you in a contract. And now here's the thing. We could go to court and the judge will tell you, I understand you got did in, but the law won't allow me to do anything. In the future, you just gonna have to pay closer attention and watch your shit. I'm paraphrasing, but a judge will literally tell you that. I know you getting scammed. Just like, for instance, Robin Givens, after she hit Mike Tyson for that money, she married a tennis player, a famous, y'all can look this up. She married a famous tennis player and literally divorced that nigga in like 48 hours. Took him to court. And the judge said he know this ain't right, but because dude didn't sign the prenup, there's nothing I can do. But my thing is, what kind of place would set up a law structure that allows such a thing? For you to get did in through a contract out of being unfair. Land of the free, home of the brave. But if you sign the wrong contract, we'll do you in and the court can't help you. Whose idea was it to set up such a system? Because it's what they've been doing from the jump. They didn't overpower you immediately. They befriended you, did business with you, then they tricked you. And then once they start putting you off your land with all of this bullshit and you got fed up and tried to fight back, that's when your fucking buddy who been sitting next to you this whole time, stealing your culture, that's when they turned on you and hunted you down and turned you over to these fucking people. And then they became slave owners and land owners. And this is how you know, because they tell you the poor church folks, the poor religious people turned on the well-off people. Okay, well, according to this is during slavery. So if this is during slavery, how can you have white people, whole towns of white people going to war with each other in the same town where slavery was allowed? How can you do this? Because they want you to think it wasn't slavery votes going on like crazy. The whole time it was slavery votes. So what's my point? If slaves are revolting left and right, you don't live in a comfortable enough space to be going to full-blown war with each other while you're chasing down slaves. And ain't it a lot of money to be made as opposed to fighting each other with slave masters? According to them, it didn't stop till 1865. So you at the heart full-blown of slavery, you don't got time for war. Unless you're lying. Now, the war that kicked off after they subdued you here and business got to booming, then they had to fill the void. And now, but it was easier because they spent so many years puppeteering Islam and people not knowing it. Now, while they over here banging, you got to understand, the reason why Islam was created, because Africans navigate, they're everywhere on the planet. How you going to take down a melanated empire when they're everywhere on the planet? You need a whole nother army. So you create the biggest army on the planet under Islam. And the reason why Islam spread like that, because it was new and it was taking a lot of different belief systems in the beginning and putting them under one flag. Like I told y'all before, people converted for wealth and success. So Islam became big because people was converting for wealth and success. You see a band of people, it's just like anything else. Y'all see how the whole rap game was screaming blood for like 10 years. Who do y'all niggas fight against? Like, why is there even gangbanging anymore? It's the whole thing, because Bloods was popping, they getting money, it's the power movement, it's sweeping, and now you can be popular by saying it. All of these things attached to it. Okay. Nothing changes under the sun. It's always been like that. The warrior is the rock star. So the early warriors was the first rock stars. Who else is everybody going to be excited about? The guy winning the wars. This is the same thing. Nothing changes. So these witch hunts was hunting down our people. Witch doctors and the queens, that the herbalist queens that knew how to put it together. And you demonize something and then you take it over. Now this becomes a part of their folklore, the witch. Now this is a Halloween cute thing. She got a green nose. She's on a broom flying around, casting spells, and it's a trinket now because they stole it from you. So now they got a monopoly on what a witch is. If they had not, made voodoo look bad and allowed you to keep it, soon as you saw the witch, somebody would have said, "Hey, wait a minute. Y'all stole that from our culture." But nobody ever wants to claim the witch because you think it's a bad thing. You think it's not of us, and you think voodoo is evil. Now, anything could be evil. But it's all about energy manipulation. What are you going to do with it? They never tell the truth. They stole your shit like they always do, hunted your ass down, and they've been lying all the way to the motherfucking bank. So, there you have it. Now, I was more than prepared to give up that $100, but I know for a fact you niggas didn't know that, because it blew my mind back when I figured it out. They lie about everything you ever heard. So approach these days, months, years, whatever. Approach them understanding they never tell the truth. And you'll be a lot fucking better off. With that being said, knowledge is the only real power. Information is the only real currency. I love y'all. I'm gone.